Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm your host, Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing agents who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all my South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace. I am joined virtually by Sharon McNamara, broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, and my co-host. Hello, Sharon.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
And then we are joined live and in studio by the one and only Tracy Grady from the Grady team here at Boston Connect Real Estate.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And we're live on Facebook, too, so you can see how beautiful we both look.
Sporting my, as Melissa said, I'm sporting my...
Like you're like jazzercising.
My jazzercise aerobic hair. Too.
Your aerobic hair.
My hair all pulled back. I'm ready to...
Yeah. You're ready to rock today.
Yes, ready to go.
But Sharon is at a convention,
conference?
It's a conference this weekend in Orlando. So she is joining us through Clubhouse today. So hi, Sharon. I know it took a little while to get there yesterday.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You
know what? It seems like every time I travel, something funky happens. First, it was delayed, anyways. Probably something to do with the weather. So I was like, all right, that gives me an extra hour this morning. Like that was yesterday, and then. We got there, get everybody on the plane. That is not an easy feat when you're going to Disney. If you can imagine, the big mouse is here. So there were a lot of kids.
School vacation
and all that. Get everybody on the plane. Everybody settled. We're going to get you all off the plane today, right now. Mechanical issue, and apparently they had to change a tire. So I'd rather not know.
Nope, don't tell me. Just, and can't you just keep me on the plane? I mean, really? I really don't want, now you've already put the doubt in my head that this is all going to go horribly wrong, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to need an extra cocktail.
And they did it actually pretty quickly, because that's what I was like, I don't even know if you could change a tire on a car that fast. But hey, I made it here, and all is well. Yeah, so I am in Orlando. I'm in this beautiful hotel here where the convention is. It's called the Gaylord Palms. It is beautiful. Never been here before. Really, really nice. Just want to put a shout out there for Bonvoy and Marriott Bonvoy, because I love my points.
Love my Marriott points.
Me too.
Yep. JW Marriott's my favorite. One of my favorite hotels to stay at. JW Marriott. The one downtown Nashville. Spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
I've been there.
Yeah.
I was in a hurricane there. Not a hurricane, a tornado.
You were in a tornado. There. Yes.
Yeah.
You and my daughter. Yep. Blocks apart, but same tornado.
Both safe.
Both safe. But it was
never a dull moment when Sharon travels.
No. But it really isn't. But I am here, and it's all about, always be learning, and I'm really excited about the event. So give me a couple days here to do some stuff. I'll probably be working from here for the weekend, but next week I'll be busy at the conference.
Yay. How long are you there for?
Until Wednesday. I'm home
okay.
Wednesday. Yeah. So my plane lands hopefully at 12 o'clock at Logan on Wednesday, and then 1 o'clock I have pictures for a new listing that's coming up in Quincy. So that's exciting.
You're just going to do it on your way out of the city?
I figure, yeah. I parked my car there, so I'll just go there, and yeah, we'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so photos next week.
Photos.
Yes, new listing coming on. We'll talk about that Tuesday night on Tuesday night's show.
Oh, good.
But,
you can talk about mine, too? I got 2 new ones coming up.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking about it. Well, we can talk about it towards the end of the show. Because we have some, you have some open houses this weekend. We'll talk about those later on in the show. But we are going to be talking about the importance of pulling permits. And you're sort of like our go-to person for permits.
Still get everybody called.
But first, I apologize. I know we're about 10 minutes in now, but for anybody who hasn't listened to you on the show, even though you're sort of a staple now,
pretty much,
why don't you reintroduce yourselves to everybody and why, when we talk about permits, we think about you?
That's correct. So I am Tracy. I'm part of the Grady team. Jim is my other half. The definite. Thank you. She's going to put my music on for me.
All right, tell us all about yourself. Let's go.
So Jim and I have been doing real estate for about 7 years. Actually, I sent Sharon the pictures the other day of all of our awards that we've won over the past 7 years. So it's been a great time here at Boston Connect Real Estate for Jim and I. But I got started because Sharon thought it was a good idea for me to get my real estate license while I was working for the town of Pembroke in the building department. And we talked permits all the time. That was my job, was building permits, electrical, plumbing, anything that you needed to come to see me at the building department. So to this day, I still get a bunch of the agents here that will call me like, hey, how do we go about this? And what happens if we don't pull a permit, and all of the questions that we're going to talk about here today. So I was there for about 14 years.
Every chance I get, I call you.
Yeah.
How many feet is it to a sideline? Where can you put a shed?
It's almost
that you don't think of, right?
Yeah, it's just muscle memory for me. Yeah. Well, for Pembroke it is, but I think it's important for everybody to know each of your towns that you live in has its own set of bylaws. So not every town has the exact same set of bylaws or setbacks. So it's important for you to kind of review your own town's bylaws. Like off the top of my head in Pembroke, I can tell you it's 40 feet from the street, 20 feet from the side, 25 from the rear, 10 off the septic tank, and 20 from your leaching field. So, I mean, it just comes out of it's total muscle memory. That's
you just looked at me like this, like a very matter of fact.
Yeah,
okay, this is what it is. This is what it is.
And Hanover's not even the same, and I'm not even sure I know. I live in Hanover, and I don't even think I know what the setbacks are in Hanover. I think Jim knows them better than I do. But as far as Pembroke goes, and so for 14 years, I lived, breathed permits.
Yeah.
It was my life. Yep. When I started there was a typewriter.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. There was nothing on computer. When I started in 2008, there was nothing on computer. Everything was hand, paper, or typewriter. I looked at the typewriter. I'm like, yeah, I can't do this.
And you were right on the first floor, and so your instinct is to turn to the left as soon as you walk in, and that's where you were.
That's
so you saw everybody. You saw everybody coming into town hall, everyone going upstairs,
everybody asking me,
you're going
where's the assessor? Where's the I'm now the director of the welcomer as well as the aficionado of permitting. So
so yes, you are the go-to permit person for our show and a lot of shows as well. So, but I want to sort of get to the basics. So, what is a permit and why would you need one?
So, anytime you're going to do work on your house, construction work, electrical, plumbing, and we'll get into the more details about that, you are supposed to pull a permit. Certain things don't apply, like landscaping doesn't apply, patios don't apply, redoing your driveway doesn't apply. But anytime you're going to do any type of construction work to your house, you are supposed to pull a permit to notify the town that a change is being made on your property. It also, and as much as nobody likes to hear this, it also notifies the assessor's office if you're making improvements to your home, because the assessors are going to want to assess your property, unfortunately, to get your tax up, but also for people when they go to buy your house are going to say, oh wow, they've put a lot of money into this house. They can just go through into your jacket at the town hall. Everybody has a manila folder jacket, and it's still paper at the town hall, where you can see all the permits that have been pulled in the town over the years. Unfortunately, in the town of Pembroke, just for people to know, the entire town hall burnt down in 1978 during the blizzard of 78. So a lot of that paperwork is prior to 1978. So I would always just kind of give the blessing like, well, that is, if you did it before 1978. Well, it doesn't mean that they didn't pull a permit. It just means it may have burned up in the fire. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
It might be burned.
Yeah. So it's
Tracy,
just,
Oh, sorry.
No,
it's hard I know because you guys aren't really looking at the Clubhouse app, but one of the things that I think is interesting is that what you said is how the assessor's office is notified, and I bet that that's the reason why so many people don't do it, because they feel as if I don't want my taxes to go up and everything else, my property taxes. But I also know, talking to the assessor's office, is if you don't let them into your house, they're assuming that everything is at the best anyways. But at the end of the day, how much are you going to save on if you remodeled a bathroom? How much money is the town going to assess you for that new bathroom? That it's going to cost how much money versus when you go to sell your house and now there is no permit and you have to go backwards to get it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of time. I mean, you can pull permits in arrears. Yeah, we are getting.
Yeah, there's an echo somewhere, so I don't know if somebody needs to mute on Clubhouse or not. But
it was me.
Okay,
it was me.
So go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to get rid of that.
That's right. No, so. Kind of going back in arrears and pulling permits, because then the walls were all buttoned up. So, I mean, you're just pulling the permit for the sake of just having the paperwork in the file. Doesn't mean that the work was done right. So that would be a problem with that. Technically, I don't know what the numbers are of what they're going to assess you at for a brand new bathroom. I mean, they're going to look at the amount of money you put into it, and almost everybody kind of hedges on that because your permit price is based on the amount of work you're going to do. So if you're going to spend $25,000 on that permit, you're probably going to put 10 down when you write it because you're going to pay less for the permit.
Yeah.
But you're still doing the permit, so that's the more important part.
Yeah.
Than if you hedge your numbers, so to say.
Yeah. So you have to get the permit for doing the bathroom. What are other things that you need it for?
You need it for really anything. You don't really need it for hardwood floors. You need it for a roof. A roof is a big one. I mean, and that one you really should be pulling a permit for a roof because people are going to go back into your folder and see when was the last time the roof was done. So, I mean, that's a big one that you should just always pull a permit. And a lot of times, as the homeowner, you are allowed to pull the permit, a building permit. As the homeowner, you can hire whoever you want to hire if they don't have a license, that's your option to do that. But in order for a contractor to pull a permit for you, they need to have a construction supervisor's license and they need to have a home improvement contractor's license.
So would you look at that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so if they went in
and
and they were pulling the permit, you would ask for those.
I have to get a copy. You'd have to get a copy of each one, and then you go in and you can pull it through. You can actually, and you as the homeowner, if you're hiring somebody, can go into the mass.gov and do a license lookup.
Yeah.
For any contractor, for any license. My license as a real estate agent.
You can look up our license.
Yeah, you can look up anybody's license, but you got to go in and pull to make sure that they are a licensed electrician, they are a licensed plumber, a licensed contractor, and then contractors pay into what's called the home improvement contract, which is a fund that as a homeowner, if you had shoddy work done, you could go back and try to get money out of that fund. I can tell you, in the 14 years that I was there, pretty sure we had a couple, and I never saw anybody get any money out of that fund. So it's there, and I know these contractors pay for it, so I feel bad for them. But there were a few that I felt like really should have been awarded some type of funds.
Yeah.
And it just didn't didn't happen.
So if a homeowner goes in, I'm sure they have to say, I'm the homeowner, I'm pulling the permit. Yep. I obviously don't have those licenses.
You take responsibility as the homeowner. You can absolutely sign on the bottom line. You are the homeowner. You can do any work on your house with the exception of electrical or plumbing. You cannot do that.
So why is that?
As a homeowner? Because, it kind of makes a ton of sense. You really should not be wiring your own house.
Yeah. Now that I have a house, I'm like, I'm not touching that with the 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
No way.
And I feel like Jim, and then obviously Mark is a licensed plumber. So, I would always say that to him. But Jim is probably a good example of somebody who, he does a lot of work in our house and he's very competent in doing it. And would I say it's okay for Jim to put up a light fixture, like if the plug is already there and we're going to take down a chandelier and put up a new light? yes, I think that would be fine for Jim to do because I think he could do it. But technically, you are supposed to have a licensed electrician do that.
Yeah.
Don't touch the electrical in your house yourself. Unless you're a licensed electrician. That's just, Or plumbing. I mean, you just don't want some...
I was just going to say that, Tracy.
Plumbing. I mean, plumbing is... I look at some of the things that had been done to our house when it was built, and I never understood why our sink constantly backed up. And when we ripped out our kitchen, the pitch on the pipes coming in, I mean, it was like amazing that it worked at all. So...
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did you live with that before you redid your kitchen?
23 years or so. Yeah.
23 years.
Like a long time.
Yeah.
So, and then you realize that, some guys just don't know. And that was with a licensed plumber. So, I mean, the person who did it, the person who built the house. But, you need to have... And especially if you're thinking about selling your house and moving forward with selling your house, it's just a plus in the plus column that you have all your permits pulled. That you've used licensed electricians, you used licensed plumbers, you used a contractor that had a construction supervisor's license. I mean, it just makes the buyer feel that much more comfortable purchasing your property.
Yeah. So I would think that, it's not just the one room. If you wanted to do an addition or you're demoing, demoing, you have to get demo. Well, demo permit is more for an entire, if you're going to demo a house.
Well,
say that you had like a barn or like a detached garage that was like falling over and then you had to demo it, right?
Yep.
So you need a permit for that?
You need a demo permit for that, and you also need the Board of Health to sign off on that to make sure that there's no asbestos or anything in the, so that when you knock it down, all that stuff goes up into the air. So they sign off on that. Yep. I believe conservation signs off on it too, because if there's any conservation lands close by, you don't want any of that, going down into the conservation land. Any of the runoff after you knock it down going into the...
There may be turtles
conservation
around here.
Turtles.
You're dealing with turtles.
Bane of my existence right now is the turtle.
Turtles, I know.
The friendly box turtle.
Yeah. Well, we always do a little update from the Grady team, so we'll have to talk about that and give an update on your turtle situation. But
turtles.
So yes, definitely electrical, plumbing. You should not be doing those things.
No, don't
yourself.
do those yourself. It's not. Don't replace a toilet yourself. It's got to be sealed properly. You don't want anything like, you don't want it to leak. You don't want.
You don't want the flow going the wrong way and venting not going the right way. It's funny because as we're talking right now, Mr. McNamara is not listening to the show this morning, but he just sent me a picture and he just called me. He goes, "Did you see that picture I sent you?" And I was like, "No, I'm on the radio." And he goes, "Oh," and then I went to the picture. So we're doing we're going to be getting a new washer and dryer. Whatever. That's another long story for another day.
But we're doing that's another one. Don't hook up your own washer. Just don't do it.
Or dishwasher.
Don't do it. No, I mean, people do it. Or the stove. I mean, the stove, if it's gas, like people just don't understand. But Mark just sent me a picture and he's like, "Thank God I saw this." The hose to the washing machine, a big bubble is in the hose. He said, "This is about to burst. We would have had a massive flood."
Oh,
can you imagine how lucky do I feel today?
Yep, pretty lucky because that is
just saw that. I'm going to send you the picture so you can see it.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's really dusty behind your washer and dryer. I'm glad. Yeah.
A little bit of lint gets back there.
Yeah. But a lot of times when I'm doing CMAs for people, and Tracy, I know you see this too, is, I'll be walking through houses and, they have a finished basement. And I was, "Oh, this is nice. This is great." And I always ask, "Did you pull permits?" And they just look at me and I was like, it really doesn't matter to me. It's not like against the law.
It's
like
not.
No one's going to arrest you. You know, it's just when you go to sell it, I know if I were a buyer's agent, one of the first things I'm doing is going to town hall and pulling the jacket to see what permits were pulled. But when I look under a sink, sometimes I can just tell because I've been married to this plumber for 31 years. And, venting, it's a huge thing. I mean, when you run your dishwasher, you shouldn't hear gurgling in your sink.
No.
It's just not the way it
should not
goes.
be bubbling up in your sink, which is what was happening to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible. It was really, and now I'm in mad love with my dishwasher and my sink, and it all works fine all the time. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
And
we also did get rid of the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Well, you should have.
I
Anyways,
know.
you have a septic system?
Yeah, so that's a bad thing. So, but I have learned from my evil ways, and we do not have it anymore. We took it out. Jim and I are so much, and I don't miss it one bit, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't miss it.
Yeah.
So, and it's not good
you
for your
definitely
septic
shouldn't.
system.
No, you should not have it.
It's pretty much illegal. But
Yeah.
so
Can't you not have one in Pembroke? Or you're not supposed to?
no. Not with a septic system. You're
Yeah,
not
with a
supposed to have
septic
one.
system.
With the sewer system, like a Brockton or a Rockland or something that's on town storage, you're probably fine with that. But not
Yeah.
when it's going into your septic system.
Yeah.
It's just eating
Awful.
away at it. Yep.
Awful.
I bet we have a show coming up on that sometime soon. That's one of my favorite shoys, is the septic system show.
Oh, the
Conversation.
septic system.
We'll do it on a Tuesday night when people aren't having, breakfast at 8 in the morning.
Yeah,
Well, they could be having dinner at 6:15 at night.
they could be having dinner. I don't know. Yeah, but not at 8. You don't want to. Yeah, no. No.
So, okay.
So we should talk about what happens after you pull a permit.
Yeah, you pull a permit, now what?
What are you getting? What are you
What-
getting for your money? Like,
yeah.
what's the town going to do
What is
for
it?
you? Well, they're going to schedule a building inspector or an electrical inspector or a plumbing inspector to come out and look at the work that's been done to be sure that it's, and it's in stages, especially if you're doing an addition. It's going to start with, you're going to pull your permit for your construction, and then the contractor's going to start. And then the electrician and the plumber's going to come in and they're going to do their rough work. So it's open for everybody to see. So then the electrical inspector comes out and the plumbing inspector comes out, and they make sure that the work is done, and then they sign off on it. Then you can close the walls up. So that way they're getting out there when everything is in its rough state, and then they'll come back out for a final inspection. So you are getting services. It's not just like give the town $350 and then you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
You are actually getting something.
They're making sure that the work is being done. Because, I mean, you could do work and I could look at it and be like,
Looks good
you're
to
the
me.
professional.
That looks good.
But then the inspector comes in and they're like, no, this is not. And we've seen that.
And that's especially for somebody that's pulling the permit themselves as the homeowner. That's the real important inspection, because they're going to come out and make sure that you've got the hurricane clips that are required. I mean, just because you're a handy person doesn't mean you know what the code is and what it's supposed to be and how to attach a deck to a house. Like a lot of people are like, I'll just build my deck myself. That's great. But there are a lot.
I would never.
There is a whole entire dossier on how to build a deck. And not that I can even use a ruler, because I cannot even measure anything. But there are certain things like you can't notch the deck. Like, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know, but you can't do it. They just don't.
You can't notch the deck,
You can't notch
Jim.
the deck. Notch the deck. Nope.
He's like, what?
Jim does not notch the deck. But like I say, there is an entire, and you can pull it up in mass.gov, and it explains to you exactly how to build a deck and the things that you can and cannot do, and how it has to be attached to the house with some type of a clip, so that it's attached, so that if you do get the big wind that comes in, because every town has a wind load, and it doesn't, not going to just rip it off the side of your house. So it's important.
Every
to
town
read
has
those.
a wind load? Is that what you said?
Yeah, every town, like coastal people have a like windows that are
You're looking at me like, you don't know that?
You don't know this? Come on. Yeah. So, like, there are coastal windows. Like, if you're on the coast, like Situate, if you're Situate, Marshfield, anybody that's really on the coast, they have a whole different structure of windows that they are required because of
The wind is
the wind, the
high.
ocean, the hurricanes or whatever coming in. So every town has a different type of a wind load, so to say, and a snow load.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
Snow
about the
load.
snow? Is same towns because
Snow load, like flat, like in 2015, Sharon. Like all that snow that we had in 2015. We had buildings collapse in the town of Pembroke. We had a building across town that buckled because it was a flat ceiling, and the amount of snow load on the top actually buckled the building outward.
Wow.
And everything dropped down. So yeah, your roof can only take so much snow. Like you can't. And we haven't had it since 2015, so we haven't had to worry. But when you start getting upwards to 2 and 3 feet of snow, you're starting to get into a situation where your roof can only take so much, so you got to get it off.
Yeah.
And especially a flat pitched
gosh.
roof, because that's just weight coming down. And then when it starts to melt, it gets heavier and the load gets heavier. So it's important to keep your roof cleaned off.
the more you know.
There you go. There you go. That's another one.
Yeah, those are two things that I learned today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
There you go. And the town also gets notified if you file an insurance claim with your insurance company for damage that's done, like in a storm, like having a tree come through the side of your house.
So that would be in your jacket.
That would be in your jacket, because when you go to your insurance company to file a claim that you want them to pay you out on. They in turn want to make sure that you are also pulling a permit.
Yeah.
So they send a notification to the town. So in 2015, I can tell you, there would have been no way for me to contact every single person that filed a claim in 2015. There were just hundreds, probably thousands of them. So
I remember the first house that I put an offer in on. Sharon and Mark both saw it too. Mary came and saw it. It was in Abington, and you could tell that they had water damage in the basement. It was a finished basement, but like you could tell that they like replaced half of the wall like throughout the whole thing. So we were like, there was definitely water down here. Yeah. So I went to town hall, and it was an insurance, a copy of the insurance claim and everything. And something had happened. I think the sump pump didn't work. Yep. And it like backed up, and there was water everywhere.
Some plumbers will argue the point with you, but I feel like this is New England. There is water. There's just a lot of water. The ground can get saturated. So I just think sometimes people think like, well, not every basement should have a sump pump. It's like almost every basement has a sump pump because you don't want to have water.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, is I know a lot of people sometimes they want to try to avoid, like, oh, I don't want a house that has a sump pump. And it's like, well, you're better off having a house with a sump pump than a house that doesn't have one and needs one. Yeah. Because I remember back in 2000 and, oh gosh, what year was that? It had to have been like maybe 7, 8. And we had one of those 100-year storms that we keep on having. And people who never had water in their basement had water in their basements. And that's something that our builder right now is considering doing. I mean, they already do like a French drain throughout the whole perimeter of the bottom of their house, the houses they build, but, just installing one just for, precaution wise. Yeah. But going back to like the permits and what you're seeing in the jacket, I think it's really good to see that, because if you go into and you see in the jacket that, they had an insurance claim. Yep. A lot of times people just take that money and they don't do what they're supposed to be doing with it. So if you see that and then you don't see a permit to go along with what's happening in there, then you know that they're not doing the work, or they're doing it on their own. I don't know, any type of electrical, like you said, or plumbing, I think is so important. And I just want to share one quick story too. When I as a buyer's agent, this was several years ago, and I was in the basement and I took some pictures of stuff and I just sent it to Mark, and I was like, does this look right to you? And he's like, absolutely not. So when we were finalizing, negotiating after home inspection during the days when you could do that a little bit better, we said that, we know that there was no permits pulled and we wanted it repaired. Well, they turned around and said, well, we'll give you a $5,000 credit. My client was ready to take it. They were young, first-time home buyers. They're like, yeah, we'll take the $5,000.
We're excited.
I don't think that you should. Yeah, I said, I don't think that you should. I think that you should make them fix it. Lo and behold, it was tile floor. All the floor had to be ripped up in this bathroom. Where the pipe was coming to, like from the outside of there was over $10,000 worth of repairs that had to be made because a homeowner decided to install a toilet on their own.
Yeah.
We have a question on Facebook. Somebody wants to know what a French drain is and what it does.
Oh, yeah. That's might be a little out of my wheelhouse, but it is definitely. Well, I shouldn't say that because we have our house in Marshfield, which is probably a great time to talk about it. 719 Ferry Street, where we had all that deluge of rain, and it completely swept the back hill down. Now the builder has spent ridiculous amounts of money to grade the land and have it all fit, and then the water just took the hill and basically it washed it out. So the water, it has nowhere to go. Yeah. So it just runs out. A French drain will take it and push it outside. It'll take the water and push it out away from the property, away from the hill, away from the property. So that's exactly what he's putting in now since that happened. I mean, I'm glad it happened before we sold it because I would have felt awful if we had sold it. But he's going to go in and he's going to put a French drain in so that doesn't happen. It basically takes the water and takes it away instead of just letting it just keep beating down on it, where eventually it pushes, the water either into the basement, pushes water where it shouldn't go. It's going to take it to another area, almost like a stormwater management system is what I call it.
Yeah.
Because there is a bylaw that talks about stormwater management. You can't change the pitch of your land that's going to affect somebody else next door to you. That you can't just go in and
you can't just push everything off to
exactly like
your neighbors.
I don't want water near my house.
Yeah, I
don't really care about
I'm going to push all my water to you, and you
exactly.
don't. You're going to have to deal with it. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yep. So you actually need an engineer.
Calls, by the way.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor has their sump pump on and their hose facing into my yard. Yeah. I was like, well, they can't get rid of their water and give it to you.
Yep. Yes. That was again in 2015. I had more people coming to the counter at the town hall, and that were like, my neighbor is pumping out their basement and their water is coming into my yard. I'm like, that's not the most. Yeah,
there was a house I looked at in Halifax towards the beginning of my journey, and the pipe for the washing machine from the basement was going into the neighbor's yard. It was on top of the grass going towards the neighbor's
yard. Wasn't it like they were trying to hide
there was like a little swamp there, and I was like, what is happening here?
They didn't even try to camouflage it?
No.
Like with like some leaves? Like, we'll just cover this up with a little...
illegal installation of a washer machine.
Yeah.
But with the French drain as well, I'm going to give you a little fun fact on that. So... I don't even know where I read this. This is like that knowledge that you don't know where you get it from, but apparently the French drain came from, it was actually called a trench drain, which makes a lot more sense, by the way. So it's basically, if you do it before construction, obviously it's a lot easier, but after construction, you can also do them in what you'll see sometimes when you go into the basements in New England. For all of my clubhouse friends who are listening that are down south, I'm curious if they do any of this or not, but so it's like a perimeter around the foundation that is sort of chopped out, and then they can do sort of like pipes in there that have holes on the top, and then there's like gravel that lays on top of it. So if water does come into the house, it goes through those drains anyways, and then it's pumped. The drain is usually underground and will go somewhere in the back of your yard somewhere, or underground and just leach out. But it used to be called a trench drain, but apparently when that thought from, I'm guessing, England came over here, so when they came over here, they kept on saying a trench drain, but they couldn't understand their accent, so they called it a French drain.
That's what I was going to ask you, was if somebody just mispronounced it one day, like from French to French, like, okay, I guess we'll just call it French now.
Yeah, like, I don't know what this French guy is saying to me right now, but it's something to do with a drain.
So
we're going to call this trench drain a French drain.
I was wondering.
So there's your fun fact for the morning.
There we go.
Nice. That's another fun fact.
Another fun fact.
I want to talk about the risks of skipping permits. So things that you roll your eyes like, I mean, hello.
Well, yeah, the risks of it. I mean, it's not a great idea. I mean, are there plenty of people who do work out there that don't, and doesn't mean it wasn't done properly?
Now I feel like everything that I go to do, I'm like, do I need a permit for this?
Yeah, it is kind of it is kind of a, the question you should ask yourself if you're going to do work in your house. You don't need it for painting. You don't need it for wallpapering. You don't need it for...
What about, okay, so I'm assuming you needed to replace your windows? No?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what about because I need to replace my slider.
Yep.
I need a permit for that?
You need a permit for that.
Okay.
Yep, because you want to make sure that they don't take something down that's carrying the load of the house.
Yeah.
Like when they start to, get in there and they start taking things out and putting things back in, you just want to make sure that it was done right and they didn't take anything out that's actually supporting something, the roof.
Yeah.
That can come crashing
down.
Yeah.
And even the simple things too, Tracy. I mean, they're simple to us because, of course, we see a lot of new construction between the two of us, but also see a lot of things that have gone bad. But you talked about putting a deck on earlier.
Yeah, that's a big
one.
But
if the flashing isn't done properly and things like that, when that slider goes in and, doing everything, water. Making sure when that other one comes out, was there water getting in there previously?
Yep.
Does it have to be, did it do any damage to that part of it?
And the code change. You got to think about that too. The code does change over the years, so it doesn't mean that when your deck was built, it wasn't to code. Yeah. It probably was to code, but the code changes so much that now it's
so
not
when you start to do
code.
Work on it. Now you have to bring it up to code.
Now you have to bring it up to code. And a lot of times it's based on a percentage of how much work you're doing in the house that you have to bring it up to code. There's numbers involved there that I can't quite remember. It's pretty high though. Like $25,000 worth of work means you probably have to get your smoke detectors up to code from where it was when it went in. So,
yeah. My new smoke detectors work, by the way.
Oh, been cooking?
I set them
Have
off.
you been cooking?
One time I did set them off, so they work. But yeah, no, now I feel like I'm going to question, like, oh, do I need a permit for this? Do I need this?
Yeah, I mean, and
Do
you
I
got to
need
think
that?
about it. I mean, if you're doing anything structural, then you obviously don't need it for paint. You don't.
Yeah,
if you replace your kitchen
if you paint
cabinets,
the exterior, you don't need, like, if you paint the exterior of your house, you won't need it.
roof. Think of
Just the roof.
Roof, definitely roof. Any boards or anything that you're going to replace.
If you put on solar.
Oh yeah, you got to pull a permit for solar and an electrical permit for solar too. That's a big one.
Yeah, I
yep.
saw
Solar's
that.
a big one. Yeah, because I mean they're really going in. That's a really important one because you just don't want them randomly shooting nails into your roof.
Yeah,
you want it done so that it's going into the studs, so that number one that the solar panels are supported properly.
Yeah,
and they're not just shooting nails into your roof, and all of a sudden you're like, and now I have a leak. Now I have solar panels on my roof, and now I have a leak. So the solar panels have to come off. The roof needs to be fixed, and then everything has to go back on again.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So try to avoid that, like at any cost. So that's why it's important to have the building inspector will check out to make sure that that they're installing it properly, and that's a big electrical. So that's a big install. So you definitely want the wiring inspector out there looking at that. Yep,
I just want to let all of our listeners know that they're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable here on WATD. Tracy Grady is in-house for me this morning while I am in Orlando. I have a conference to go to next week, so I came out a couple days early. Melissa is obviously at the helm, and if you want to call, and it looks like we have a caller, 781-837-4900. The great news is you can now text to the studio, and Tim will be able to get that question to you as well. 781-837-4900. And Tim, I think I heard that they have a caller.
Yes, you are correct. We have Jay in Plymouth. He'd like to make a comment.
Hello, Jay in Plymouth.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I just woke up, so that's why you're hearing my voice the way it is. But I just want to do a couple of suggestions for whoever's listening. Make sure whoever you hire is licensed, insured, that you have a copy of the liability policy, and never hire friends.
Yeah.
The worst you can.
Yeah.
You are so right.
You're so right. Never hire friends.
You are so right.
You think you're going to get a deal, but, human nature, people are going to have disagreements. And not saying you're going to, but you might as well save yourself the time and aggravation. You just don't do it.
Yep.
So I need to know if this is coming from a place of experience, it sounds like.
Well, a family member hired a friend. That friend took 6 months to do 2 bathrooms in a house. That friend also cut the main joists in the house, causing a lot of damage to the house. Where the kitchen floor is now sagging. It's just sad. But this is what happens. And then that friend was discovered drinking in the house, doing other, and so it's just you just gotta
always
be
seems
careful.
like a good idea. It always seems like a great idea because my uncle, my cousin, my brother is a
you
a
want to give them
contractor,
business and see them, especially if they're successful and but you have to be cautious.
Yeah, you definitely have to be cautious.
It's great to take a referral. You always want someone to refer you to somebody if you don't know somebody personally. But you have to be conscious about where
and
you're
then the
putting
friend,
your business.
the friend, cousin, uncle, like you were saying, 6 months later is like, well, I'm doing it as a favor for you, so I'm squeezing it in between other jobs, and I'm trying to, you're like, oh, this
I would
doesn't
rather
sound
someone
good.
tell me, I'm really sorry, I just can't squeeze you in, but I have a referral for you, somebody else that I know from the business. I would rather that.
Yep.
Well, I
And we've all heard this saying too, you get what you pay for. And that's the thing is people are trying to cut corners all the time, but I don't get it.
But I think the main goal with when people want things done is saving money. And sometimes you just don't save money. It costs you more. This friend ended up being unlicensed, uninsured. So where do you think the house,
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. People, you got to think, and saving money. Yeah, we all try to do it, but just some things when it comes to your home, That's not where you want to be trying to save money. You want it done right.
Yeah,
you got to spend the money. You got to spend the money if you're going to do it, because that's
you're investing in your future. Because at the end of the day, you get to a certain point where you might sell it, and that could be your retirement. That could be where you're moving. You needed to move on to your next chapter. So, I think your money should be well spent in your home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, I agree.
Again, I put a lot of reference on license, and you want a copy of that policy, make sure it's in effect while the work is being done.
Actually, when I worked for the town of Pembroke, we were required to get a copy of the insurance policy along with the construction supervisor's license, home improvement contractor's license, and then we needed their liability and workman's comp if it was, if they had it. A lot of times these contractors don't have workman's comp because they're individual contractors and they pay for their own as opposed to having others. But you just call the insurance company and they will type up a policy and send it right out to you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really easy. Very easy to do.
Tracy, I got to tell you, over the years, so many people have come to Mark and said, hey, listen, I had a buddy who did this and everything, but now I have to get a permit. Like, would you mind pulling the permit? Mark's response is always, absolutely not.
No.
Are you kidding me?
Would I make myself liable for that? No.
Exactly, and that's what happens. And then you also have these contractors who hire other people.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe in a legal term, I'm not an attorney, but eventually whoever they hire, it still falls under that original person. But if they're not licensed and uninsured, you're up the creek without paddles.
Yep, you really are.
But people really need to think, and then hiring people off different websites and stuff like that, you got to be careful.
Yep.
And it's not worth the aggravation.
No, and like I said earlier, mass.gov, you can go in as the homeowner, you can pull up anybody's license. You can go in and make sure that they are current, because a lot of guys will tell you that they are licensed, and then you go in and you realize
it expired 15 years ago.
Pretty much, yeah. It's expired or it hasn't been paid for, and then it is government sometimes, so it can get a little waylaid and then not be updated.
Yeah.
But over the years, I use the mass.gov license lookup all the time, and you can see how long your contractor has been licensed and to make sure that they are up to date. So, yeah, and you can do that on your
Tracy,
own.
one of the things, I want to say too is, don't just assume when people are telling you that they did pull a permit. You should see it. It's usually in the window.
Yep.
But this is bringing back a memory from me as our caller. I'm sorry that I forgot his name, but
Jay.
Jay. Sorry about that, Jay. Yeah. But, you bring up such a good point about, with these permits and everything. And I remember one time one of my clients, and he was an attorney, and, not that made him smarter than the average bear, but you would think that he would, you know what I mean? Like you think someone wouldn't try to do it. And I remember we put the house on the market and he had just gotten the roof done a couple of years prior. And I said, oh, was a permit pulled on this? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, there's nothing in the town hall. And home inspection came up, and the home inspector noticed that the exterior of the house, it looked like it had at the top. Why can I not think of what that's called? When the air goes out the top, Tracy?
Oh, the vent.
Not a gable.
The vent?
Not a fat. Yeah, it's one of the vents. I forget which one it's called though. It's not
gable
a gable vent. It's not a soffit vent. It's some.
Oh, it's not
yeah,
a soffit
it's sort of
vent?
like a roof. It's at the top, but it's what they do is at the top, the very tippity top where the wood comes together.
Yep.
It's usually cut out, and that's how the air escapes. Well, from the exterior, it looked like the way the shingles were laid that they did do this vent, but they never cut it on the inside. So
so no air
never pulled, even though the homeowner thought there was one. Yeah, so it ended up with a situation with some mold up in the attic. Why can't I think about that? What the name of that?
Well, I want to say something in regard to recording liens. This is one of the big things for people. Just because the permits were pulled, it has to be recorded on title to make sure that it's done. So here's an example of what I mean by that. You could pull permits and start, like, appraisers can't give value to property that, like, if you see a property, let's just say that I went in and I added an extra bathroom or bedroom. Well, what's behind that drywall? Electrical and plumbing. Mm-hmm. So anytime, this is a little secret, a little hack, anytime you see properties that say 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, you pull title, because if they added that structure and it has to do something with safety, with the big six: plumbing, heating, air, electrical, foundation, and roof, and they added that extra space, the appraiser can't give value to that if it's not permitted. So record it. So if you added if somebody added an extra deck, an extra roof, an extra bedroom, bathroom, that appraiser can't give value to that because of safety purposes. Because if something happens in that property and they added an extra structure, then everybody who recorded that is liable for that. And I'll share one more thing. I put it in the chat: unconditional waiver of lien. This is something that if you guys are doing any types of contractor work or anything like that, make sure you have that signed in your contract when you're doing any type of additions, because that prevents the contractors from putting liens on your property.
Hey, Tony, this is Sharon. So I didn't know if you realized, but we are live on our radio show right now that is playing south of Boston. Do you want to let all of our listeners know who you are and what areas you serve? That's what I do on Saturday mornings with all my Clubhouse friends.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm Anthony Glenn. I serve Southern California. I'm a real estate broker. I'm also a partner with Grant Cardone. We launched Cardone Veterans Group last year, and we specifically serve the veteran community and real estate professionals looking to get into that community with partnering with vets. We have a vertically integrated company also with 7 real estate businesses in one.
Well, that's awesome. So we will make sure to all of our WATD listeners, if you are thinking about moving to Southern California area, I don't blame you, one. But don't worry, spring is right around the corner. You can always get in touch with me at 781-826-8000 right at the office, or go to bostonconnect.com, and you can find all my information there, and I can get you Tony's digits. And he goes by Tony and Anthony. I like to call him Anthony, but there we go. So, all right, ladies, sorry about that. So,
no. I just want to see, is Jay still on? I just want to see.
Yeah, I'm still on.
Okay, perfect, Jay. Well, thank you so much for calling in and listening. I know you just woke up, but we appreciate it.
We appreciate it. We're up.
That was great. That was great. Right. Yeah, no, that was great information. Great. You had great input, and we appreciate that. So you have to listen to us again.
I have one quick question. You guys you ladies might not know this, but I wonder what the adversary. I wonder what would happen if the contractor, the main contractor, does not pull permits. What happens to them when they should?
It depends if somebody takes charges up against them. I worked in the building department for about 14 years, so there was plenty of times that contractors didn't pull the permit. If they pay into the home improvement contractors fund, the homeowner has that as a way of trying to get money back if something goes horribly wrong. There is a fund out there that a homeowner can try to get money back, but only if that contractor's paying into it. It doesn't cover them if they don't pay into it.
Right.
So, and then the homeowner would have to take, if somebody's not or represented themselves as a licensed contractor and then found out that they were not licensed. Again, it would be tough if the homeowner pulled the permit themselves. That would be hard to prove that, because you said, you hired your own person. You didn't make them pull the permits. So,
right. Yeah. So the homeowner might want to make sure that before work is done that they have copies of those permits.
There you go. Yeah. Like Sharon said, you usually get a bright orange card that goes on your window that says, I'm having work done at my house, and that's where the plumbing and the electrical and the building inspector sign off on those cards in the phases of, when it's rough and then when it's final.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jay, for listening and calling in. We appreciate your input.
Okay,
and we're live every Saturday. You can call in every Saturday.
Every Saturday, 8 to 9.
8 to 9, Saturday morning. Thanks so much, Jay. Enjoy the rest of your day.
We expect Jay to be our prompter of the greatest conversation, right? So we'll see you next Saturday, Jay.
Okay.
Jay from Plymouth.
Always do your best. Always just put your thinking cap on. Always protect yourself no matter what.
Yeah. Great advice.
Absolutely.
Great advice.
Okay. Take care.
That's why we're here giving value.
Thank you, Jay.
Hey, Tracy, I had a quick question for you.
Yeah. We have another caller.
You have another caller. But Tracy, if we get a minute, this always happens right at the end.
Yep.
You know what? One of the things too, Tracy, if you can just write a note down so I'm not constantly interrupting you, is what about when permits don't have their final sign off? And I feel like a lot of people forget that step as well.
Yeah,
so
we definitely want to do that as our final
callers.
thought. Yeah, we definitely want to do that as our final thought. And we keep forgetting we have some open houses this weekend, new listings here at Boston Connect Real Estate again. So we do have a caller. Tim, who do we have on the line?
We have the lovely Elizabeth in Cohasset.
Hello, Elizabeth in Cohasset.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good. How are you?
Good. I've been listening to your show, but I've been in and out of the room. So if you covered this, I apologize. What about chimney work? Because we're having a lot of chimney work started this Monday, and I don't remember anything being said about permits. So
You need a permit. You need a permit for a chimney. Are they repointing it? Or
they're gonna drop a stainless steel liner down it.
You need a permit. You need a permit.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then a more minor thing was he wants us to do a chimney cap, but we're on a ranch on a property with no trees over it, and I just hate the way they look. But if we went to sell the house, are they going to say, you have to have a chimney cap?
It keeps squirrels out. It keeps the animals out. So,
but no animals could have ever been on our roof because, as I said, it's in the middle of a lot with no trees or bushes nearby.
I don't think it's required. So if you don't like the look of it, I don't think you have to have it. I think they're thinking just to protect you from anything getting into the chimney.
Right.
So,
sort of protecting the work that they're doing.
Like birds, actually. Birds can get in there too. And they don't the birds don't need
after the
trees.
work is done, does somebody have to come inspect it?
Is the building inspector going to get up on a ladder and look down that chimney? Probably not.
Probably not.
It's going to be my guess because it's probably not covered through the town for that. But yeah, they will come out and make sure that everything looks good from the inside out. Yeah, you should have.
Well, the contractor showed us the top of it from a drone. He has his own drone. I was like,
nice.
I didn't see you on a ladder. How did you get up there? And he goes, with my drone.
Oh, I love that. It's way safer.
So maybe
it's way safer. Yeah, so maybe he'll just take pictures of the work that's been done.
Yeah, he might have pulled a permit without sort of.
Yeah, you might not even know if he pulled a permit. And if he has a drone, he probably can take the pictures for the building inspector to say, hey, I did the pictures. You don't have to get up on a ladder. You can see what I did compared to what you had and to what you have, you're getting now.
Yeah.
Okay, but we should have a permit.
You should have a permit.
All right.
Absolutely. Yep,
okay,
chimney's a big thing.
I'll let you go. Thank you.
Great question.
They also look up from in the inside. They'll look up that way too. And I'm curious.
Oh, we have pictures.
A mason.
Yeah.
Did you have a mason or a contractor do it?
Well, it's probably a fireplace.
It's a mason in this town that I know someone who's a townie, and she said he's very well respected, very reasonable. So he's got a very good reputation. I know that.
He should pull a permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dynamo.
Okay. Well, he might already have thought of all this. I just don't remember him bringing it up with us. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might just be part of his.
package.
Yeah, it might be part of his package.
Yeah.
And, you can see it on the sort of bottom line.
Okay.
But. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for calling in. We appreciate it. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I appreciate you're giving me the info.
Yeah, of course. And again, we're live every Saturday.
We're here every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.
I'm always listening.
Oh, good.
Okay, take care.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Tracy, do you want to answer Sharon's question so we can get to the open houses as well?
Yep. What was the question again, Sharon? What happens if they don't pull a permit?
Yeah, open permits.
Open
things
permits.
like that.
Yeah, you got to get them signed
I
up.
gotta tell you, as I'm sitting here, I think that I do have a permit that's open. That didn't get signed. Maybe.
Yep. You definitely need to go through that final stage, and it's easy at that point to just be like, yeah, the electrical inspector came out, the plumbing inspector came out, but you need to get that final building sign off as well. Just that says you have begun the project, you've completed it, it's been inspected, rubber stamp it, it's good to go.
Good to go. You're doing some open houses this weekend.
We're doing open houses. Jim's actually going to be at 719 Ferry Street today from 11 to 12:30. It's a new construction project. We are getting down to the floors are in, everything's in. We're just waiting for the kitchen to come in. It's a beautiful home. It sits really, really nicely on the top of the hill. Whole house generator, 4 bedrooms, 2-car garage. Go visit Jim. He's going to be there today and tomorrow from 11 to 12:30.
Oh, no dates date day?
No date day. No
date day.
I have a date with Edna today.
Oh, okay.
Gotta
Date
take
with
her for a
Edna.
walk. Yeah.
We do have a new listing here at Boston Connect Real Estate. Ginny Wandell has a listing on 10 Oak Street in Pembroke. She is going to be there from 11 to 1 today. That is a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. It's on the market for $520. Again, she'll be there today from 11 to 1. I'm going to that. Matt has a listing, Matt Mahoney. He is at 38 Birch Street in Pembroke. He will be there today from 11 to 12:30. That is on for $525. I'm going to that as well. And he will be there tomorrow from 12 to 2. Team Flynn has 52 Great Cedar Drive, Unit 52 in Hanson. They will be there tomorrow from 11 to 12:30. That is on the market for $424.5. And then Sharon and Mary have quite a few listings over at Cushing Trails and Cochise Estates. You want to give a little shout out to your developments?
So Cushing Trail, we have 40 units over there, 20 buildings, open house every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 12. Just want to let everyone know we got 3 reservations this week, which means, as it always does in new construction, we're going up $30,000 come Monday. So if you are interested, get there this weekend for a reservation, lock yourself in. And Mary will be there both days since I am in Florida. Again, Cushing Trail, 486 Spring Street will get you there 10 to 12. And then Cochise Estates in West Bridgewater and Blueberry Hill. Kristen Howlett, full-time real estate agent at Boston Connect Real Estate, will be there Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3. And we have a mixture of single-family homes and duplexes.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We will be back on Tuesday. I'm going to be with Kristen Howlett on Tuesday. We're doing our little spotlight from the South Shore. So stay tuned. We will be there. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for the callers. Bye, Sharon.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have fun.
You be mine. I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always